Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WYTV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, USA. Hey friends, will you join me for just a minute and imagine how amazing you'd feel living the unique and distinct life you were put on this planet to live, doing work you love, with people you love, and places you love, and all the while creating something of real value to others. Well, that's what I call a life of significance, and I can tell you it makes a very happy life. And so can my friend Candace Woodson. She's here to share her unique and distinct journey to her life of significance. But before I bring her on, I'd like to share a poem that we created to thank her for being our guest star today. It's called Resilience and Soul, and it goes like this. Born with gospel roots and a voice divine, from Pudica's warmth a rare gem did shine. Soulful and smooth with resilience and might, Candace turned trials into beams of light. A survivor's anthem, her free took flight. Her Midas touch brought joy and delight. Trying to be perfect is a heartfelt plea, an anthem of love and acceptance, pure and free. So join us to hear an inspiring tale of passion and persistence where dreams prevail on something significant. Her story is our theme, Candace Woodson living her soulful dream. Hey,
Oh,
Candace, welcome to the
wow.
show.
Bravo, bravo.
Very good. Well, tell us what you're doing these days to make your mark of significance on the world.
Well, these days, I'm really blessed, first of all, to just be alive.
Mm,
Life within itself is a blessing.
yes, ma'am.
And when I think about my life, I'm thankful that I still have an 82-year-old mom that's still
Uh,
alive, and I was able to spend time with her for the holidays. And I have two wonderful sons that really impact my life so because they're good boys and they're Christian boys and they treat people right and they have dreams and goals too. And I think that's the reason why their mother keeps fighting so hard to live an example, not just do as I say, not as I do, but
yeah,
do as I say and do.
yes.
So when you look at that, then they look at me have being an artist and being an entertainer. But at the same time, I also teach school. I'm also a school teacher. So
Mm,
a lot of my time is spent helping to develop seventh graders
mm,
and educate them in civics
mm,
and their rights or citizenships of this country.
great.
But my biggest thing is to help them be better young people, that they grow
Mm,
up to have respect for others, that they grow
yeah.
up to have a high standard. You know, my goal is to make sure that everyone leaves Miss Woodson's room a better person.
That's awesome. And I love that you have your holidays with your 82-year-old mom. I'm here actually in a parking lot of an old folks home or my assisted living with my 87 and 88-year-old parents, and got to
Wow.
celebrate the holidays with them. And they have their 69th anniversary tomorrow.
Oh, that's
So
so beautiful. Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
so beautiful.
All right, Candace. So let's do a little mathematics so our friends all around the world can get to know you through our happy formula.
Okay.
It's a simple formula, but it's really powerful. And it goes like this. Power plus purpose equals happy. So let's start with power. What are your personal practices for building up all the power that you need to get things done, whether it's physically or mentally or financially or spiritually or emotionally? In other words, Candace, what do you do on a regular basis to create the power you need to take really good care of yourself and your loved ones and still have plenty left over so you can be a giver to others?
Well, when you talk about power, first of all, I don't have my own power. My power
Mm,
comes from God.
mm,
And my beginning of my day always starts off with a meditation, a devotional of some sort, because I know from whence my help cometh from. I know that. So I wish I could say I was a better uh, physical exerciser, but I'm working on that. I'm working on
mm,
that. I'm actually going to be doing the yoga sitting in your chair stuff. I'm going to be doing that this year. Anything that I know that can enhance the body, because our body is a temple. So I do
mhm.
believe in treating our bodies well. And by being an entertainer, along with being a teacher, I realized the physical appearance is so important that sometimes, unfortunately, it bears more weight than the actual song
True.
itself, because the physical is what they look at first.
Yep.
So to stay empowered, I have that meditation. I do not focus on anything negative. Negative cannot be a part of my life. Every time something comes into my mind, I say, God, I trust you. God, I trust you. And I say, God, I trust you until the enemy leaves, because he does not want me to acknowledge that I know where my help is coming from.
Yeah.
So when I say, after I do that, and I also try to monitor the words that I say, because when you say, I receive, that is totally different than making a request, because we receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. But when we say, I receive, we acknowledge whatever is destined to us, that's in the universe. We allow it to come into us and be what it is that we would like to be. And I try to make sure I do one thing every day towards my goal. Although
That's
I'm a
great.
teacher, and you can ask them. Miss Woodson brings it, man. Let me tell you, there's no shortchanging in the Woodson classroom. But along with that, I haven't gotten sidetracked. That my first love is entertainment. My first love is my music. So I do something every day towards my goal, towards my dream. Just at least one thing. And I encourage everyone to do that. If you have a goal, if you want to be empowered by something that you desire to do, at least once a day, do something that can contribute to that goal.
Yeah, well, that takes me right in perfectly into the next question, and let's discuss it. It's this power generating concept that I call a Kaizen state of mind. And Kaizen is this beautiful Japanese idea that small incremental improvements add up over time to yield great big results. And I love it because it's based on mindset, not circumstance. So Kaizening life for me is knowing there's always something that I can do better tomorrow than today. And it creates this optimistic, gentle, but very powerful and continuous uplifting of my life day after day after day. So Candace, tell us how Kaizening your life and that notion that you said of doing one thing every day helps increase your power and advance you to continuously become more so you can continuously give more.
Well, I can use both examples in the classroom. I make sure every day when we have a moment of silence, they know that is my moment right there, that I pray for them in my room. Even though they've taken prayer out of school and you're not supposed to incorporate religion, but I've used the moment of silence and they wait for me. And then when they see that I'm done, they go, amen, amen. They try to beat everybody to it. Amen, amen, amen. and just taking that little small thing, now it has now allowed my children to want to pray, to wait on that. And what they do after that, I've taught them, if they do something that's wrong, say, I'm sorry. Well, now the going thing in the room, if they get in trouble, they say you're sorry. Just say you're sorry. Well, taking little things like that has helped them develop a character within them that they wouldn't have had I not used the moment of silence, or had I not used the correction method of saying I'm sorry. The same way in the music. What have I done? Every day I write a goal of where I see myself. I'm getting ready to release a new single. So what have I done for that? I write a list and say, okay, these are the lyrics for the new song. Okay, who am I going to get to promote it? Okay, what is going to be the release date? Okay, where do I see this in 6 months? Where do I see all of it? Because of doing one little thing each day, going into a major recording to having a major release.
Yeah. Yep. And what Kaizen, that discipline does is, as you did your first one with your checklist, then you learn you might have missed something. So now you have another checklist. So every time you're working on it, the process keeps getting better and better and more efficient.
It does.
And your moment of silence and bringing the kids down back to the present moment reminds me of one of my favorite quotes. That says, the present moment. So when you're there in silence with your kids, in the moment, that's where time, our time, intersects all of eternity.
Wow.
And then you said they're saying amen on the end of it. So it's like just bringing all of it right there into your classroom, which is beautiful.
Wow. Wow. Well, I know that there's a purpose in me teaching because, like I said, my greater love is the entertainment industry, but oh, how I have a love for those kids
Hmm.
because I know the impact that I can have on their life. I want everyone to
Hmm.
leave feeling like that they can do and accomplish anything, that they are
Yeah,
great, and
that's
that
awesome.
they don't have to compare themselves to anyone else, that they can feel comfortable in who they are, and
Yeah,
they can know that they have the same ability someplace somebody else does. They just have to do it in a different way.
yeah, yes, ma'am. All right, and you mentioned purpose. You're just kind of leading this entire interview for me because that's our next topic, purpose. That's the second element of the happy formula. And I've observed personally that the big life transformations, those really big discoveries of purpose, often sadly come from devastation. It could be addiction, abuse, disease, death, disaster. Something awful strips a life right to its core, resulting sometimes in a big and often unexpected change. However, in my book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I share the transformational process that I've used to discover my purpose through inspiration. So, how about you, Candace? Was there a specific moment or event or crisis or inspiration that revealed to you the God given purpose you were meant to live?
Well, my life has been full of purpose. Starting as a young child, we had to really basically run for our lives as a
Mm,
young child. I had a very abusive father,
mm,
and my mother had three daughters that she just didn't know what she was going to do and how she was going to get out of the situation. And by me being the youngest, I was always a little bit more maybe daring, I guess you could say, and more assertive.
mm,
And I actually helped my mother at the age of 12 develop a plan to get
mm,
out of that situation.
mm.
And my sisters say that to this day about how, you know, what a blessing that I was born, because had I not been born, they really don't know if they could have we could have gotten out of that situation.
Wow.
And so moving on from there, I know
But
that I've
before,
been,
Candace, before we move on from there, so talk about a little bit about the Parks Sisters and the
that's
gospel
correct.
group, the
That's
gospel group, and in that trauma of your life,
yes,
that must have been a great place for the three of you to escape.
correct,
Yeah, so
correct.
talk a little bit about that before you go on to the next one.
Oh, gladly. We called ourselves the Park Sisters. We had our little group, and even though unfortunately my father was a minister, but he was not one of the good ones.
Mm,
And what I'm so thankful for, because of having the mother that we have, that we did not change our mind about God just because we
mm.
saw someone who may not have been godly. And from there, we would sing, and like I said, we would call ourselves the Park Sisters. We were like the Jackson Five, but I was Michael.
Very good.
Get it to her. And so, we sung together, and we just had just a sisterly bond. And once we left that situation, unfortunately, we did not maintain the group, and that was a lack of wisdom on my mom's part, and she even acknowledges it now, because we should have stayed together. We should have kept that unit together, where I still knew that entertainment was my life. I knew
Mm.
I wanted it. So, going on to high school, I was a top singer in the high school. Going on to college, I was a top singer in college. And I just know my purpose is to show people that you can live out your dream despite of an abusive childhood,
Yeah.
despite a troubled marriage,
Mm.
despite a having to have that C word of a disease and be a survivor.
Yeah, talk about that because I think you went through cancer in 2014.
Yes.
So talk about how did that impact your life? How did you how the problem I think a lot of people face is life goes along and we all get hit with the stuff that you're talking about. Everybody does. We know no one makes it through life without getting hit. But sometimes you get to the feeling of just feeling overwhelmed, and some crumble and give up at that stage, and some fight right through it. So talk about how devastating it was, and how did you push through it? And I see you even used it as a part of your singing and songwriting and messaging to the world. So give us a little bit on that.
Well, it came at a devastating time because my oldest was graduating, and
Whoops. Wait,
it
but
came.
let's,
Okay.
okay. 1, 2, 3, go.
It came at a very devastating time because my oldest son was graduating from high school,
Mm.
and my children are 10 years apart. So that meant the youngest was 7 years old, almost 8. And I'll never forget the nurse asked me, she said, "What bothers you the most?" And I said, "I have to raise that little boy." I
Mm-hmm.
said, "That's what bothers me the most." And she said, "Well, you're going to do it. You're going to do it." And I said, "Well, I tell you what, not only do I need to raise that little boy, I need to be out of here in 28 days because I need to do the wedding rehearsal to John Cougar Mellencamp's daughter for
Mm.
her. So we got to figure this out." So the end result is, fortunately, I did get out, in enough time, and I was able to use it by writing a song called "Free."
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was diagnosed, I never felt like the cancer was in me. I felt like it was on me. So it
Oh,
was like,
gotcha.
take it off of me. So I
Mm-hmm.
never embraced that I had it because I didn't feel like I had it, because I was not going to let something just mentally control me like that. I just felt like, okay, this is just something that's happening to me, take it off, and then we're going to move on, and we're going to use it as a testimony of how God brought me through in a way at a time that, that I had requested for him to do so, and he actually did it.
Mm-hmm. That's a great way to look at it. And just maybe one more comment from you about you. All of us have been through hard times. I'm in my 60s now, 63 years of age, and you've done so many things that you've forgotten the highs and the lows and the ups and the downs. At least I have many of them. And so if you're here today, by definition, you've made it through overwhelming challenges. You have.
Exactly.
And so when you see the next one, you should be informed by your strength and resilience that, yeah, here's another rough road I got to go down, but I've been through them before and I'm going to get through this one. So just give us 2 minutes on that, and then we'll take a break.
All righty. Well, my doctor, Dr. Herman, she's unfortunately passed away, but we had such a special relationship. And she said to me, "You're just now a member of a club that you didn't want to be a member of.
Right.
But now you don't have time for the small stuff." And she's so right. I know what's important now. And I know if you have
Mm-hmm.
your health and your strength and your right mind, you having a good day. Because don't have your health and your strength, don't have your right mind, and see what your focus really is, even in spite of finances. I know sometimes finances get very difficult. I know we wonder how we're going to make it, but when you have your health, you have everything, because
Mm-hmm.
you can get through it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just know that I share my story about that because I want people to know that they can overcome, and
Right.
not to allow something to control them, like the cancer, or like divorce, or like abuse,
Yeah.
or like disappointment. I've been told no so many times. I'm telling you, I can't count them. I've
Yeah.
been told no so many times now, really. I have lost count.
Yeah.
But do not allow that to stop you from still living your life to the fullest with your desires, your goals, and your dreams. Because remember who is in control, and you build that relationship with him. And I'm that one that has a journal that I write down and say, "Okay, God, this happened today, and I was not happy with it. I'm just telling you. But I need you to do what you do, and I
Yeah.
need you to fix this for me and make it better."
Yeah.
I believe in an open relationship with God to express how you truly feel, because I believe that's what opens you up to deal with all circumstances in your life. I believe that's the beginning of a free life.
Yes, ma'am. All right. That's a great place for us to take a break. Um, and let our audience hear from our sponsor.
Are you ready to transform your life? At happyliving.com, we've discovered 4 keys to help you live with purpose, joy, and significance. Unlock your truth with the Happy Quiz. Unlock your happy formula with inspiring stories from the Something Significant Show. Unlock your roadmap to happiness with our free ebook, Making Your Mark of Significance. And unlock your inspired life with our life-changing e-course, The Philosophy of You and Your Inspired Life. This is your time to shine. Go to happyliving.com now and click Unlock the Power of You. Unlock your power. Live your best life. happyliving.com.
And we're back, and this is the Something Significant Show, and I'm your host, Matt Gersper. And my special guest star today is Candace Woodson. She's an award-winning international recording artist, singer-songwriter, and the queen of sophisticated soul, known for topping the UK soul and Billboard Smooth Jazz charts. Her music blends timeless R&B, jazz, and soul with authenticity and grace, making her a beacon of resilience and artistry, a breast cancer survivor, and inspiration to many, including, I'm sure, her 7th grade class students. Candace uses her powerful vocals and heartfelt lyrics to uplift audiences worldwide. Candace, I love that. And I think you're going to love this article that I found called The Science Behind the Power of Giving. It says that the act of giving itself can be a gateway for discovering your reason for being on the planet. It tells us that science tells us that giving our time and talents and treasures is a powerful pathway for discovering purpose and overcoming difficulties and finding fulfillment and meaning in life. So I updated our formula. Power plus purpose plus giving equals really happy. So how about you, Candace? Has giving your time, talents, and treasures been a pathway for discovering your purpose and for getting past difficulties that you've faced and for bringing real, true meaning into your life?
Well, Matt, let me tell you, giving is what I do at the school. I feel like so many people have been good to me and my family and my boys that what I'm doing now, I feel like I'm giving back. There were so many teachers and coaches that gave to my kids. So what I'm doing now is a way to just give back. And at the school, without any pay, well, major pay, I have like a course that I do after school. So I'm creating like a little ensemble for them to have for those who love to sing, because they said the school doesn't have the budget to actually have a chorus department. So I feel like God has blessed me with this gift. So in return, I, after school, have a course to where for the ones who like to sing and also teach them how to sing. Yeah. And so giving is my way of living. Even as an entertainer, I've done more free stuff than I've ever done to have gotten paid. I can tell you that right now. Because once again, if I can bless someone's life by hearing me perform, if it can help make their day a little bit better, well, that's more important than the paycheck. Even though you need the paycheck to live, don't get me wrong, whoever's listening out there, no, you have to pay me. I'm not saying don't pay me. No, pay me. But I'm just saying that really the reality of it is our purpose in this life is to give. It is more blessed to give than it is to receive. So if you're doing for others, then you have accomplished what he has put us here to do in this life.
Yep. That's it. And so God tells us that, but the science also confirms it, which is amazing, that giving to others helps bring real meaning to our lives. And the joy that we feel from the 4th element of significance, which is doing work that creates value for others, confirms it. But there's something more to it than just the giving, I think, Candace, and you mentioned it. I believe that the real magic of life comes when you're giving from living in your purpose. It creates a profound joy, not just for those who are receiving, but for the giver too. When you give authentically and genuinely, sharing your time and your talents and your treasures from your true self, you create real value for others while deepening your own sense of fulfillment and meaning. So Giving from living in your purpose not only uplifts the lives of those around you, but it also reinforces your own purpose, forming a beautiful, transformative cycle of joy and connection. So, Candace, the audience and I would like to know how it makes you feel to be happily living your life and giving to others, doing the work that God put you on this planet to do.
Well, that's what kept me going. You know, the hard times that I have experienced, it's made it difficult sometimes to the hard times. It makes you a little bit different, I think. You know, I didn't grow up in a rich home. I didn't don't have a trust fund and all that kind of stuff. So my mindset is not what can somebody do for me, is what can I do for others? Because I wasn't given all the time. It wasn't given. I had a great mom that did the best that she could, and she worked and had uncles and family members. But the reality of it is I've still had to do the majority of it myself. So that's why I'm hoping that now I can just continue to give it back at the school, continue to give back in this industry, and show you don't have to sell your soul to make it in this industry. That if you work hard, give your best, educate yourself. That's why I have a commercial music degree, because once I made mainstream, I didn't want it to say that she's just a hobby. I did not want that. I wanted it to be said that she's educated in the field and she did what she needed to do to be where she is on that level. So I wanted to be respected. So in return of my knowledge, I'm giving it back in return. I'm giving this what I'm telling you about, doing one thing per day. Telling you that now I'm teaching at a school, but even though I teach civics, I have a course that I do after school. So I've still combined my gifts with my everyday living.
Yeah. And so I imagine that you make a pretty big impact on those kids' lives. But what about, so you're giving your time and your talents and treasures to them. How much joy are you getting when you see that it's working and your kids are making progress and are moving on to do great things? What does that mean to you?
My joy comes from knowing that I have made an impact in their lives. I look forward to seeing those kids every day. I do. I love them. I can't get them out of my room. I'd be like, "Will you cannot stay. You have another teacher." I'm like, "You're going to make those teachers mad at me. No, you cannot stay." But when I can see that they just want to be around I think they may feel a peace, a safe haven, and they need to know where that comes from. That comes from that spirit that I receive. And then I want them to grow up and say, I had a teacher, Miss Woodson, but it was just something about the way that she carried herself. It was something about the way she had a concept of life. And that's what I'm hoping that I'm giving off. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yep. And that's it, folks. That's what the show is all about. It's encouraging you. The show, we hope, is encouraging you to find that magic in your lives. It's available for all of us. That's what I believe. And it comes from this great big happy circle, it seems. Giving your time and talents and treasures is a powerful pathway for discovering your purpose. And then giving from living in that purpose brings a profound joy to your life and to the lives of those around you too. So it seems that giving leads to purpose and giving from purpose leads to joy. So Candace, teacher Candace, to capture the entire exponential power of our happy formula, let me tweak it just a tiny bit more. I know you do civics and not math, but it's power times purpose times giving equals happy to the third power. And that's really, truly, deeply happy. Does that sound about right to you?
That sounds excellent, because that is how it comes about, Matt. You put it all together. And I'm going to tell you something. If you can be happy for others, then you can be happy for yourself.
That's it. That's the magic.
Yes, you have to be happy for others when they achieve. Like I always say, there's enough pie for everyone to get a slice. And it is. And I'm happy for your show. Thank you for letting me be a part of this show. I'm happy to embrace what you're doing and help encourage others to pay attention to your show, to come on your show, because it's all about building each other up, That's where the happiness comes from. The happiness comes from after I've given it to you. In return, I continuously build you up. I continue to encourage, to empower, which is a part of my mission statement, to empower. So I'm just glad that we're able to share our story with others and for them to hear that, yes, it is possible to be happy for others. Well, how can I be happy for others? Look at my life. Well, I could say, look at me. I don't have a major record deal at this moment. By the time it airs, I will. But speaking it into existence.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
the thing is, you know, it's so much power in building others up and giving, because that's where the joy comes from.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the things I've been thinking about this year, particularly. It's when you take your eyes off yourself and you put them on others. And I think Apostle Paul said it, I have to become less so he can become more.
Exactly.
There's a real power when you stop just always thinking about yourself. And if you're feeling low and down and in the dumps, go help somebody.
Exactly.
You'll feel better instantly.
Exactly.
So, well,
and
very
something
good.
else,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think everyone needs to realize it's not about being right. I'm
Correct.
really realizing that as I get older. Everybody wants to be right. Why?
That's right.
You don't have to be right. Nobody has to be right. You know,
Yeah.
if I need to say I'm sorry 1,000 times, and if that's going to build our relationship, I'm glad to do it, because your relationship is more important to me than me being right.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. All right, Candace, this is great. Let's wrap things up the lightning round. I just love the power of words. I imagine you do too as a songwriter, and the capacity for great quotes to change lives. So I'm going to read a few of my favorites and ask you to tell us what they mean to you and give us the first thing that pops into your mind, because we call this a lightning round.
Okay.
And your students will be listening, I'm sure. So here we go. This is from Helen Keller. And she said, life is either a daring adventure or nothing.
And that's true. You either live it to the fullest or it's a waste.
Yeah, very good. This is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he said, to know even one life has breathed easier because you lived, this is to have succeeded.
It goes back to the Bible about that. If there's one soul that was saved compared to 99 being righteous, and that is exactly right. If I've touched just one soul in this life, then my mission has been accomplished.
Yeah, that's it. From Denzel Washington, he said, it's not just what you have, but it's what you do with what you have. Who are you lifting up? Who are you making better?
And I totally agree with Denzel about it's not what you have, is doing with what you have, what you do with it. Because I've taken what I have and I've used it to the best of my ability. So guess what? I have no regrets, because I didn't have something and I didn't do something with it. Whatever God gave me, I took it and I gave it the best that I could do with it, to give it to others and to show that I was living out my dream by actually giving back to others too.
And that's it. And a little boy, a little drummer boy actually said that in more succinct words in the Drummer Boy song. I played my best for him.
Yes, correct.
That's all we have to do. That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
This is from Melody Carlson. She said, I have become convinced that God thoroughly enjoys fixing and saving things that are broken. That means that no matter how hurt or defeated you feel, no matter how badly you have been damaged, God can repair you. God can give anyone a second chance.
I agree with that. And that's why I mentioned about being totally upfront with God about how you feel, because you're not fooling him. Nothing is a surprise to God. Whenever something happens, I say, well, it wasn't a surprise to God. He already knew. So, so that's my thing. It's like, why not tell him the truth? Hey, I want a hit record. I want a record to go all over the world. So why pretend like that's not what I want? Because that is what I want. So if we can at least acknowledge our brokenness, then we can become healed. But when we try to pretend like we don't have those feelings or those emotions, then we're never able to move on. It just doesn't happen.
This is from Bono. He said, music can change the world because it can change people.
Music can change the world because music has no color. And we live in a world that is so driven by the appearance of, where music is a universal language where it brings us all together.
Yeah, beautiful. And this is our show anchor. It's from Goth. And he said, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
I agree with that statement, because when I was first diagnosed, I said, do I have any regrets? If God were to take my life, am I regretting? And my regret was that in my music career, I used to stop and start, stop and start, stop and start. And this time I said, I'm not stopping no matter what. So God is the one that's going to stop me. But this time I don't stop and start, stop and start, stop and start. This time I stay committed to it, and I just do something towards the goal and the dream. But at least I know that I fully committed to it. I'm fully committed to it, to where whatever happens, I know that it happened the way it was supposed to. That was his divine order. That's how much he wanted me to have. That's what he wanted it to be. So I did my best.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. But it's one of the things I think about. It's regret. If you can live your life without regret,
yes,
you're on fire. And I'll just give a quick example. When I was back in college and study for an exam that's coming up, and then I finally made the decision. Okay, Matt, you're done. Close the book. You're finished. Now, whatever grade I get, A, B, C, D, or F, I gave it all that I was going to give it. And I didn't leave anything back. And a lot of things that I've tried in my life, I've not achieved, but usually I've been stopped from something outside. It wasn't that I gave up. And so I don't have regrets. And therefore, I mean, it's awesome. So if you're feeling regret, I think let me ask this question. Do you think if you're feeling regret, it's because you had something that you felt you could have controlled that you didn't? And then you have a guilty conscience or something about that?
I think regret has a lot to do with you allowing others to determine what is success.
Yeah.
And I think in the beginning, I felt like, oh, I'm not as successful because I don't have this, I don't have that.
Yeah.
Well, how come I'm not successful? I don't know what, in God's mind, what it is that he bases success on. Right. So
for you.
For me,
for
exactly.
You.
Love that.
Yeah.
For me. So for me to have a regret thinking that I didn't accomplish what the Beyonce's accomplished or the Natalie Cole's accomplished, well, that's wrong, because I put myself in a position that I am thinking I know. Yeah. But I can only know what I know that works for me. Yeah. So I know that if I've used all the tools that he's given me to use them in the way that I have, then I've done my part. So then I have no regrets. I think I only regretted when I compared myself to somebody else's success and basing that on success. We don't know, that's success for them, but you need to stay where God has you planted, whatever you are, because that's your success for you.
Yeah, and the world's full of all kinds of things, but you can see plenty of people that had all this amazing success, and then they take their own life because they're miserable inside.
Exactly.
So I'd much rather be, a janitor and singing in a nightclub every Tuesday night, and happy with my family at home and living a good, wholesome life. Exactly. So I think it has to do with being in alignment and authentic with you and your beliefs. And if you're doing that, you're going to be good.
And not seeking others' approval. Correct. When you're looking for the approval of man, you are going to be disappointed. Yep. And so get in that alignment that you're talking about. Get in that alignment with God and with yourself, and make sure that you two are meeting. Because when you meet, then it doesn't matter about the rest.
Correct. Very good. Okay, folks, now it's your chance to be a giver too. If you can hear my voice and you were inspired by today's show with Candace Woodson, please share a little love with our fabulous broadcast team by giving what you can to WITV7. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, like you, Candace, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. And Candace, I love the soulful elegance that you bring to every note you sing, weaving heart and authenticity into your music. And I admire your mission to inspire and encourage others to achieve a life of balance that fulfills dreams through your power of music. And I'm super happy that you've shared your spirited, soulful, and radiant spirit on our show today. Would you take just a minute or two and share any parting remarks you'd like to leave with our audience?
Well, I want to thank you, Matt, for this opportunity. And it was a great show to talk about giving back and power and purpose. So I'm continuing on with that dream. As a matter of fact, I have a new single that'll be coming out the first of the year called Your Love.
Right
So
on.
I want everybody to be on the lookout for that. I'm also going to be doing some stage plays, and I'm also going to be doing tests in the educational field. I'm broadening my ability in that field also. So download all the music that you see, the Candace Woodson Experience. That's CANDACEWOODSON on all digital platforms. Go to my webpage. There's a place to contact me. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to reach out, and I would also love to be in your area. So if there's an event coming up, feel free. We travel. We would love to come.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Candace. And yeah, and I also want to thank WITV7 for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep interviewing inspiring guest stars like Candace and reaching folks just like you, ready to create your own extraordinary lives. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to social media and all things Candace Woodson, and everywhere she is just Candace Woodson. Find her, friend her, buy her music and her merchandise, watch her music videos, and listen to her on all your favorite music platforms. You'll find all the links in the show notes. And from me to you, dear friends, I love you and I want you to be really, truly, deeply happy too. So go to happyliving.com right now and download our free mini but mighty ebook. It's called Making Your Mark of Significance. And once you read it, and it's designed to be read on a phone in about 30 minutes. So once you read it, give some thought about what we can do together, you and me, to improve the happy of your world one person at a time. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome, and this is the Something Significant Show. And we're out.